Happiness is beautiful, it's a kind of reality. Happiness is the highest good, happiness is free. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.
Welcome to the Happiness Show. This is George Ortega. I'm here with Claudia Bassett, and we're here to talk about happiness because happiness is, always has been, and always will be the point of it all.
I love that, Ted.
Thank you.
I never get it right, but I love it when you do it.
Okay, today we are going to do our fourth episode of Happiness Off the Cuff. We've done 3 of these before.
What a lovely surprise.
Yes, it is an absolute surprise.
I had no idea what we were doing, and now I do.
Yeah, and with these shows, what we do is we'll free ourselves up to just talk about happiness, whatever comes to mind. And I just have found in like the last 3 shows that we've done like this, I think very creative and you know, wonderful ideas come up. So
very cool.
Okay, so
I love that, off the cuff.
So
I
let
don't
me
have
ask
a cuff
you.
today, but
All right, so let's start out. Why? I mean, the average level of happiness in the United States is about like 70%. You know?
average level of happiness is 70%?
Yeah, like 7 out of 10. About 20% of us are about like 85% happier, you know, or very happy, right? And so, well, I mean, because
it's happy, happier, happiest, happiness.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's a great scale.
All right. So now the question is, I mean, like, considering that, well, part of the answer is like that happiness is like 50% genetic. So some of us are just luckier in that sense than others.
Absolutely.
But
we're hardwired for happiness.
Yeah, in general, I mean, why aren't, considering that happiness is the goal of life, and we all, most of us understand this, why aren't we any happier? I mean, what's going on?
It was a good question. Let's ask Mr. Happy. I don't know. I think people get hung up in America on all these other aspects of life, and they don't stop and focus on what's good. There's good every day. I mean, there is good every day. I mean, the sun rises. We're not being terrorized so far today. This is a good thing.
But I mean, like, you would think we would learn, because I mean, you're right. There's like, we get distracted. We also like seek things like that we're very bad predictors at knowing what will make us happier. So we make the wrong choices also. So we make all these mistakes. But you would think, Claudia, that that decades ago, that hundreds of years ago, we would have figured this out.
So what prevents us from learning? That's a learning process you're describing that we're not doing.
All right, here's a guess. For however many thousands of years, I mean, when human beings have been on the planet for, I think over 1 million years, as humans or whatever, I think for a lot of that time, it was about like just surviving. It was just like,
Absolutely.
So even maybe until like, the 17, 1800s.
Industrialization.
Right. So maybe like it's kind of like a new world in the sense that for most of us, or not most of us actually, for a lot of us, we just, we don't have to on a daily basis struggle for these basic needs. And so maybe that's part of it, that just, society hasn't just segued from this, like, this ingrained, conditioned, centuries, millennia, a tradition of just like, honing in on survival. I mean.
Yeah, but we should, though. I think we should be more honed in on survival, and we should well, because we should redefine survival. Okay. What is survival? I think it should be more of helping your mood elevate on its own, because people depend on so many different things to survive. We can survive without taking pills and without eating as much as we do. We're such gluttons, Americans, and there's just such a huge, like a selection of ways to focus more on survival. How about we focus on survival of the planet, of this beautiful globe, of more of the animals? There's a penguin missing at some zoo. I'm very upset about that. There are things that are happening today that we could focus on. And by the way, I'm bringing this up because, this happened today. And this made people happy. The MTA strike was settled, right? Okay? People were happy from that. And it was survival when they were getting to work, finding a way to get there, riding a bike, or, you know, jogging in early, or trying to get there before a certain hour before the roads closed down. It was that survival. When it snows heavily and we're all out there shoveling and, you know, we can't drive anywhere, that's survival. You know, people are out there talking to each other. So why don't we focus more? So maybe we need to get back to the grassroots of how we existed, how we, you know, lived through all kinds of different phases of change on the planet. And I have another thing to say. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're looking at asteroids flying through space that it might possibly be hitting the planet. We are talking about future survival. We're thinking of ways to deflect the course of these asteroids so that they don't come into the Earth's atmosphere. This is projected survival. So I think survival is what it's all about. You mentioned survival. I think it should be all about survival. We're not surviving. We're already past that. Everybody's attitude was like, oh, I have to have, a plasma TV. I can't live without a plasma TV. That's not survival.
All right, but in a certain sense, you're kind of like redefining what we generally understand as survival. So,
and maybe we need to scale it down so that we can derive some happiness from.
All right, I think what we can do, though, is like we can see that in a different perspective that maybe is a bit more clearer to understand, in the sense that rather than like, changing the meaning of the word survival, seeing it as that we need to come to like a collective realization. We need kind of like an epiphany. We need to get it. We need to understand that that happiness is not just the point of our lives. Happiness is all there is. That's all there is. I mean,
yeah, I totally agree. It's all there is.
People don't understand that.
No,
People
they don't
realize
understand
that.
it. They don't realize it.
Why not?
I think they're hung up. They're distracted because they have the luxury of thinking that other things are more important than happiness. I think it's very Western. I think it's very American.
See, a lot of times...
No, maybe not. I'm sorry. I take that back. I think it's wherever there's like tremendous wealth and comfort and ease of life, any of the big metropolitan areas, any country that's not third world perhaps, may think that, it's more. Happiness is more than just, coming home to healthy children and a healthy, family, husband or wife, and that's really great. That's important. That's where you get happy.
See, well, one of the problems is that, like, one of the ways that we find our happiness is through comparisons with others.
Comparisons, right.
I mean, we're very competitive. And
Absolutely.
we don't, our schools pretty much foster this, from a very early age. We're like competing for grades. We're competing for the teacher's attention.
How did that ever happen?
Get into the.
I mean, you think that was the first school? You think the first school was like that?
But the idea is that we want to teach people that while comparisons, while having more than others can work, it's not a very wise or it's not a very effective strategy because
having more than others.
Because I'll tell you why. When we find our happiness competing with others and then trying to compare favorably, that sets up a situation where there's a winner and a loser.
Right.
And so naturally, if we're walking around kind of like feeling quote unquote superior or something, feeling better off, then part of our happiness is based on other people feeling less and all. And the problem, the main problem with that is that emotions are contagious. I mean, when a lot of
you have a winner and a loser right there, dictating happy and unhappy.
Well, I'm saying that kind of formula for happiness creates a lot of losers that are going to walk around
50%.
Much less happy, right? Bringing down the happiness level of everyone else.
Yeah.
And the other.
And that's contagious. That's what you're pointing out.
Exactly.
So a lot of people then identify with the loser. Oh, I must be one of the losers,
Well, and the irony is that happiness isn't about, or life isn't about like winning, about having more success, more education, more whatever. Happiness is all about, it's entirely about happiness.
about itself.
So if you know, if you're, and the wonderful thing about, I mean, let's say you wanted to compete for happiness in a good way that wasn't at the expense of others. If we're competing to see who's going to become the happiest, that would be wonderful, because as we become happier, you know, there's the natural tendency for us to want to share that happiness, to want to help others to feel happier. It's
a great thing to compete for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Let's compete for happiness. Let's make a happiness competition.
Well, we're going to do, you know, we presented a show on this, like a reality TV show, where like we were talking about this before, right?
Yes, we're going to talk about that too. We're
Well,
going to do a show on that.
We're going to do a show on a different idea, because that first idea was about that it was a group of people living in a house, you know, about 12. You know, this would be a reality TV show. I think it'd make great television to see them compete week by week, to see at the end of 2-3 months who would become the happiest.
What a great idea. And I'll tell you, I watched one of those shows one time. It was so frustrating because everybody's crying or like being mean to each other or undermining each other or pulling the rug out from someone else or passive aggression, or it was just like, whoa, you know, I'm scared. And I think it would be such a great antithesis to do a show on who can be the happiest, who can really generate the most happiness in this house.
Oh yeah, and what would be very cool also, Claudia, is that like they would have a rule that the happiness, you couldn't have that like backbiting, that scheming and conspiring that goes on in those other reality shows.
Scheming and conspiring, good 2 words that define those shows.
Oh yeah, and it's like, so with a happy house reality show, that would be against the rules. If you're caught doing that too much, you lose. You know, so you'd find people like on their best behavior.
I love that. I think that is brilliant.
Yeah.
You have to dedicate a whole show to that.
Oh yeah, well we did. I mean, we'll do another one, and we can do another one.
Let's do 10 more. What the heck? Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Okay.
That's a depressing thing about some of those reality shows that I've watched. You're going to play with your tie? Okay.
Well, no.
Because I watch them and I'm like, I'm sure like they get ratings and then the Nielsen box is like going, woohoo, this is a great show, we're making a lot of money. Yeah. But like, what are people learning from this show? They're identifying with negativity, negheads. They're all a bunch of negheads, like.
All right. Well, I mean, you can apply that same, you know, point you're making about reality TV to just our consumer society. You've got these multinational corporations just like pretty much brainwashing us from you know, as young as they can get us to buy products to find our happiness through things, when if they don't know, they haven't like paid attention to the research, but things aren't what makes us happy. So like, you know, this kind of thing of like just, you know, creating that kind of culture is like so not good.
So not good. It is so not good.
Not good at all. I mean, that's why. Well, all right. We can do a bit about this profit donation capitalism thing.
Let's talk about that at every show. That's our commitment.
Right.
Every show we're going to bring that up, because you know what? It's in such a natural segue from every single show. That's really a way. That's our organization. We're two activists. We're happiness activists, and Mr. Happiness is helping us. And the way to be an activist in the pursuit of happiness, which is our right, our unalienable right, is to do this profit donation capitalism.
Right. But you know, the thing is, like, we're probably going to have to explain it just like for a few minutes each time, because you know, we get a different audience each time.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's try it as briefly as possible. Instead of buying products from corporations who just have too much money anyhow, you buy products from companies that donate 100% of the profit to feeding the hungry, medical research, cleaning the environment, to good causes that not just serve a few at the expense of everyone else on the planet, but serve all of us.
I love that so much. I smile when you say those words. I get so happy thinking that we can do this.
Yes.
This is possible.
Oh, yeah.
How cool is that?
Well, yeah, and the thing is, like, I'm convinced that, you know, if one person, here, Bill Gates, the guy's got, what, over $40 billion, maybe over 30, I don't know. If he spent...
Is there a big difference? I mean, 30, 40 billion?
Right. So here's the thing. If he spent $500 million, you know, hardly...
Flash in the pan.
Yeah, $500 million...
on?
$500 million on creating these these companies, and with 500 million, you could create 100, 200 of these companies at least, because they can they can outsource their manufacturing and distribution. And if he would do this, and they would like create a simultaneous launch of products, let's say 200, 300, 400 products, and he would have massive publicity.
Massive.
And that's
because
the thing.
A, because he's spearheading it.
Right.
B, because it's a brilliant idea that he didn't come up with, by the way. George and I came up with it. We love that. And so who do you write to? Who knows Bill Gates? If you know Bill Gates, do us a favor. Write to us at the Happiness Show /production.
Happiness Show, production at thehappiness.show.com.
Production at thehappiness.show.com. And let us know if you know Bill Gates' private home number.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, it's
we're
one
going to
person.
pitch it. We have to pitch it to
Claudia,
people
this is
like
so
that.
Yeah, one person, and he's not the only one. There's Ted Turner, there's George Soros, there's a lot of billionaires who are socially minded. I mean, Bill Gates is amazing because there's this list of the 50 most richest philanthropists in the world, right? Who give more than anyone else.
Is he on that list?
Not only is he on it, but he's like number one, right? Now he gives, I think from 1999 to 2001 or so, last time it was tabulated, he gave more than the other 49 put together. So I mean, the guy's generous.
Cool.
So you can have this.
So do you think maybe he doesn't come up with these ideas? He's busy. Maybe we can just give him an idea. Hey, Bill, how about this pitch?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and what it's the amazing thing is that one person can change the whole world through this idea and make everyone so much happier.
And you know what? One person can make it a trend, and trends really travel far in America, especially. A trend to be like a wealthy person who sets up a company where you feed the poor. What was that actress thing? Who headed that? Brad Pitt with the One. You sign on one.com or something like a One. And everybody sort of went on and they donated money to feed the hungry. Right. And that was a great effort. But there could be like tons of these organizations. It doesn't have to be just, and all these people, all these familiar faces that we love going to the movies to see, right. they can really head this whole movement.
Well, yeah, and that is the point, Claudia, because the idea of getting somebody who's really rich to create 50, 100, 150 of these companies at the onset and have a simultaneous launch is that it provides that publicity so that people all over the world say, hey, I can easily do this too.
Right.
And another feature of this that I don't get into too often, but is like not-for-profit organizations generally they do a lot of good for the world. They're the ones feeding people generally. They generally make their money through donations, but about 20% of what they take in from donations, they have to spend on administrative costs, salaries, etc., right? So, I mean, if you have somebody who's like an entrepreneur who's very socially minded also, he needs to make money also, right? So let's say he, as a salary, he'll make, let's say, 10, because the reason I say this, because Paul Newman, when he created his company, Newman's Own, it was just him, his partner, a part-time bookkeeper, and a part-time secretary. Okay, and so that you can run
a real scaled-down version of a big company.
Yeah, because they outsource manufacturing and distribution. So very little is devoted to salary. So if somebody who wants to create something like this, taking let's say 10% of the total revenue as a salary, so that means for every $1 million that he generates, and gives away to charity, to a good cause, he would be making $100,000. That's a good incentive, for somebody to really do something extremely valuable for the world, and people would, really want to buy those products and still make money for themselves.
Absolutely, that's the way to go. I love that idea. So we have to push that.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Cool.
And anyone who wants to help us can help us.
Oh yeah, it's really a matter of getting the word out, and it's a kind of a thing where people have to see the vision. People have to see that. Like, I did a survey of this once. I asked 100 people if your supermarket was offering you products that were equal in value, price and quality to the products that you now buy, and that you knew that 100% of the profit from these products would be used to end world hunger, would you buy these products? I asked 100 people this question. 92 of them said that they would.
Wow.
So, I mean, like, my God, these companies would be hugely successful.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm a psychotherapist, I'm curious what the other 8%. You know, the 8 people out of the 92, do you know what they were
I think, yes, there were, I think, 2 that, two that I think were, they go according to brands. They're very loyal, you know, they have this brand loyalty.
Okay.
And I think
that's that's a fear-based thing. So go ahead.
Yeah,
I mean, I just have to understand it.
The other 4 were just, they were undecided. They didn't know one way or the other.
Bad day for them. Okay, that explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because no one said, no, I don't care about these people. I don't care about the rest of the world. I need what I want. You know, people were just like, I don't know what you mean, or, you know, I'm really dedicated to this brand. Okay, that's cool. Thank you.
And Claudia, the wonderful thing about this idea is that it's not just about helping like the half of the planet that lives on $3 a day. It's like our environment, global warming, these hurricanes, it's very, you know, strongly predicted and theorized that these hurricanes that are getting much stronger than usual, are because of global warming changing the weather patterns. So
all kinds of different reasons, like saline and all this. I'm just learning about it now.
Right.
I'm just so fascinated with it. I'm such a science buff that's God. So I'm taking away your.
Well, it's just
point.
the idea that as a person, instead of buying, you know, a tomato sauce from Hunt's, you know, you can buy a tomato sauce from a company that will donate 100% of the profit to cleaning the environment, to making our air cleaner, our water cleaner.
Yes, me and Mr. Happiness is agreeing with you. That's important, and we need to start doing that, like stat.
Oh yeah.
How about these? I mean, wait a minute. What about? I mean, I always look at the media because I always marvel, like they put it on the news, like it's news, like I really don't care. But a movie might make $20 billion their opening day. Excuse me. Can they possibly find a way? I know they have to pay a lot of people to like start something up so that, you know, we can sort of kick back some of that finance, you know, to the environment or something.
Right, and well, I mean, and you know, that's the age-old question. Comes again. We did a show before. We were commenting that like we give 1/1000th of our gross domestic product in foreign aid, which is like 1/1000th of 1%. I'm sorry, you know.
Right, 1/1000th of 1%.
Right. So the idea is that you know, it'd be wonderful if we as people, we as corporations would give, but we haven't reached that state. I mean, you know, we're just like, I don't know if it's fear, I don't know what it is. So this profit donation capitalism idea, it just allows us to generate this money. You know, we go into a store, we want to buy something, we need to buy something.
We buy something even if we don't need to buy something.
And it just, it doesn't matter from whom we buy it. I mean, whether we buy it from General Foods or from a company that's donating its money to
General
medical
Feed.
research.
I think we should make these companies have trendy names like General Feed, and you know, like take the names of the great companies. Like what do they call Altria? I think now they have it because I remember. You know, now they call Alfrea, like Alfida. You know, I mean, just like sort of make a trend around all these great company names that people can identify. Oh yeah, it sounds like that company, so I'm going to buy it. You have to maybe you have to trick that 8% that we were talking about that are what did you call them?
They were like
the name of the company, the name of the product. So it's label. They were label. Hello, help me. It's Thursday. I'm burnt. Label sensitive. Label.
Right. They're product loyal.
Yeah, label loyal.
Loyalty, right.
So you trick them by using a name that sort of sounds like that, and they're like, close enough. You know what I mean? I'll take it. You know, and it's maybe 2 cents less. I mean, that's great right now. Our gas is what, like $50,000 a tank?
Oh yeah, and like, product brand loyalty has only so much attraction. I mean, if you give most, again, like 92 out of the 100, their brand loyalty isn't that much that they're going to like not buy a product that's going to benefit the environment or feed people.
Yes, and and I think we should go into Stop and Shop tonight, right from here. Stop by the house, get a pair of jeans and a camera, go in a Stop and Shop and start and get another fresh. And maybe we should air some of those interviews. Maybe we should just plug that in at the end of the show. And
all right.
Let our viewers see their peers commenting on. Yeah, I'd much rather like put a meal on the table for some kids who had their house destroyed in Louisiana. I mean, that's our country. And look at the devastation, because we're overexposed to it, because we get to see it, we can follow up on it. But look at the countries we don't ever hear about, we don't ever see and learn. We just have to know that it exists, you know?
I know. Yeah, there's a movie coming out in 2006 called In Pursuit of Happiness, that it's going to really poke fun at our consumerism, how like we buy and buy and buy, and we're so materialistic, and it doesn't make us happy, it doesn't give us what we want. We're not really aware that there's this other side of the world that my God, when we're like, to have our low prices, we're paying these farmers like next to nothing. That's why there was this fair trade coffee movement that began, to start giving coffee growers a livable wage and stuff. So yeah, we could really have that consciousness really grow in all of us.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I like that. Profit, donation, capitalism. People should write into us with ideas and interest, and we can help people get involved. Because we really need like disciples of the Happiness Show to start running around doing some stuff with us.
Oh, well, you want to know something? With In Pursuit of Happiness coming out in 2006, my former co-host Amy is negotiating to create a reality TV show that, if she gets the contract, and I believe she will, it'll be broadcast throughout the world.
I love that.
With these things happening over the next couple of years, happiness is going to be bigger than like this age of freedom and equality and democracy. It's gonna it's gonna be like a whole global movement and age.
That's huge. Go Amy.
Oh yeah.
So she's one of the.
She's one of us.
She's one of us. And so you can become one of us. And the way to become one of us is to write us. Production@thehappinessshow.com.
Oh yeah.
I finally remember that. This is good. This is very good.
All right.
Someday we're going to tape early in the week, and then I'll really have a brain to use.
All right, Claudia, thank you. This has been great.
It was fun.
Good show. All right, well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for watching. In the future, we'll explore other topics designed to help us better enjoy life. This is Claudia and George saying be good, think well, feel very happy, and I hope you'll join us next time here on The Happiness Show.
Bye-bye.
Happiness is powerful, it's our underlying need. Happiness is why we live each day. Happiness is destiny, so let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.